first question, and this is a really interesting one. We talk about paper a lot. So I would say paper and memorabilia are the two areas that people struggle with the most. Good morning, Susan, Terry, Sandra. And we answer questions about paper. So, like nonstop, right? Nonstop. Okay. So, this question today. Hello, I've got boxes of papers more than fit into my filing cabinet, and I've gone through them several times. So, what's left I do need? Mostly a lot of records I actually do need to keep. I can't afford to pay for one of those scanners that organizes and saves everything, and it would take a lifetime to try and take photos of it. Any suggestions, please? I have a filing cabinet full and in boxes all over the surfaces of my room. I would love a specific solution. Okay, so this person who wrote in this question made it very clear that all of these documents need to be saved. Now, this is an unusually large paper collection. In most homes, we don't need to be keeping that much paper. That being said, decluttering and home organization needs to be right for you. So, whatever collections you have that you value, that you need, that are necessary to your life, only you can make that decision, right? Nobody can tell you how much of anything to keep. However, there is one guideline that we all need to follow, and that is how much space do we have in our house for our collections? How much storage space do we actually have? Because no matter who we are and no matter how large our collections are, the stuff that we need to function in our life needs to fit within the storage space that we have available to us. And there is just no way around this. We all have a limited amount of storage space. We all have stuff that we must keep to function in our lives. And the must keep stuff must fit into your storage. So, if you have an especially large collection of anything, and in this case, it is specifically papers. In fact, more papers than fit in the filing cabinet, and my filing cabinet is full, and there are boxes all over the surfaces of my room. What this says to me is that you need to devote more storage to your paper files because they're necessary to your life. I mean, that is whoever wrote in this question made it very clear they have gone through these boxes. They must keep all of these papers. I totally understand that. You must keep all these papers, but then you must also have storage in your house for all of these papers. Otherwise, they will be in boxes all over the place. And the thing with papers and filing systems, if you have this many papers, you need to have a filing system that functions and that you actually use. So when you have a lot of individual things that need to be organized, you want them to be accessible. That's the whole point of organizing, is to make your stuff accessible. If you are organized, but your items are not accessible, you're not really organized. You're not really at that end point that you want to get to. If you have difficulty accessing what you need to declutter more. Does that make sense? So that's like a really important point. We can be very organized and still be struggling to put things away, find things, get to things, remember where things are. You can't organize your way out of having too much stuff in your space. And again, this is not an argument against keeping a large collection. This is just illuminating the fact that if you have a large collection of stuff, you need to make it functionally organized. Maybe that's the term that I need to coin, functionally organized. Anything can be organized, but is it functionally organized? Can you get to it? Do you know where things are? You know that you're functionally organized when you can pick up your house and not spend time thinking, where should I put this away? Or you can know that you need something and spend no time wondering where that thing is. Recently, somebody in our house had to renew their license and they needed the documentation to do that. I went exactly to the one single spot where all that stuff is, pulled down the one single file and said, here you go, here's all your stuff. It did not take any time. That is functionally organized. So when you have a big collection that you must keep, then you must also provide storage for that collection. And in this case, I mean, you said, I would love a specific solution. When you have that many files that are in filing cabinets and boxes everywhere, I typically hate filing cabinets. I it's a strong dislike. But if you have that many papers to store, then yes, you need to have filing cabinets to support that much storage. Paper file organization does work well in a filing cabinet when you have a lot of it. So what I would recommend is to get a filing cabinet that fits all of this stuff, or multiple filing cabinets. Be really clear on what your filing system is. So I would actually have a filing organizational map that I print out and put on the front of my filing cabinets that basically says, how do I categorize things? Am I categorizing by type of material? Like, is it medical? Is it identification? Is it tax stuff? Is it insurance? Or is it chronological? Or within each thing, is it chronological? Is it by person? Like, there's a lot of different ways to organize paper. There's no one right way. It has to kind of match how you think about your files, right? So the best organizational system, especially when it comes to paper, it matches your brain. Like, how do you think about things? Do you think about things by person in your house? Do you think about things chronologically? Do you think by person and then chronologically? Do you think alphabetically? I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can think about stuff. How do you think about stuff? You want your filing system to match that, but then you also want to write it down. Be very, very clear. Spell it out for yourself and for everyone else. And then here's the key point. If you have, and it's not called an organizational system for nothing. If you have an organizational system, systems require maintenance. Organization in your house requires maintenance, because if you don't maintain it, it just goes to, you know what, right? It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because we're humans. We're not perfect. We don't adhere to perfection all the time. When we're putting stuff away, when we're grabbing stuff, things get messy, things get put out of place. But with a paper file organization system, you actually need to maintain the system, which means that you have, and with any system, you have to maintain a system. You have to make sure that you go through on a very regular basis and are filing things away according to the system that you set up. So if you're going to go through this whole thing and set up an organizational system, you need to have time in your day or week, and I would not let this go to a month, day or week, to maintain this system. Maintaining the system means filing stuff where it belongs and removing stuff that is no longer necessary and disposing of it properly. We have paper coming into our house every single day. Just go look in your mailbox. Every single day, we have paper coming into our house. If you have a large volume of paper coming in every day, you need to maintain a system that matches that, which means that almost every day, daily or almost every day, you need to be working on your papers. You need to be filing stuff away, responding to stuff. You need to be using the system. If you don't use the system, it will never work, and it will cause you frustration every single day of your life. So if you have this situation where you have boxes of papers more than fit into a filing cabinet, it's a lot of records that you need to keep. You can't afford to pay for one of those scanners that organizes and saves everything, nor do you have the time to take photos of everything. And you need a specific solution when you have a filing cabinet full of boxes all over the place. You need storage that works for that, because you need to keep all of this stuff. And you need a system that you routinely maintain so that you can find these important papers. They're so important you can't let go of them. I get that. I'm not mocking that or anything. Like, I'm just stating the facts here, right? They're so important you can't let go of them, which means that they're so important that you need to be able to find them, right? If you can't find them, then what is the point of keeping them? You need to be able to find them. You need for it not to be taking up all of your time and mental energy. You need to maintain that system. That means on a very regular basis, You're filing stuff away and removing stuff that is no longer necessary. This is basically filing paper organization in every house. You need a system and you need to maintain it. It's the same with anything else. Any other system you put into place, you need to maintain it. This is why if we have a laundry system and we don't stick with our laundry system, our plan, our schedule, I mean, you could substitute a lot of words for a system here: plan, schedule, whatever. If you don't stick with it, it's not going to work because systems require maintenance. So I'm going to say that one more time. Systems require maintenance. Sometimes we call maintenance chores. Maybe we have some other names for it. Whatever it is, if you want to have a functional space, a home that works, it needs to be maintained. And your systems need to be maintained. You need to actually stick to what you're doing. If you have too much stuff, then your maintenance becomes impossible. It is putting stuff away, finding stuff, figuring out where things go. It's you can't possibly do it in the amount of hours that we have available, nor would you want to spend that much time on stuff. So this is where decluttering comes in, right? If you declutter, you get rid of so much stuff that you don't have to worry. Maintaining that system, it just takes minutes, not hours. That's the magic of this process. And that is why you cannot be truly functionally organized until you're really decluttered. And if you have a collection of stuff that you cannot bear to part with, you need this, it is a must keep, then you must give it the storage that it requires. Because otherwise, it gets destroyed. It takes your time, it takes your energy. You finally dig through a pile and find it, and you find mouse turds all over it. You must give the stuff that you choose to keep in your life adequate functional storage. And if you don't have enough storage in your house, it doesn't mean you need a bigger house. It means you need to continue to declutter until you are truly living within your space. A bigger house and more storage is not the solution. That's actually throwing way more money at a problem that is solved by letting go of more. Cold hard truths here. Okay. Thank you for loving the podcast. Good morning, Susan. Good morning, Mary. My kitchen countertop is so full of stuff. Should I take everything off it and clean it, put stuff in boxes temporarily, and then put back only what is necessary? So that's a really good question. I would say the answer depends a little bit on you. I understand the value of clearing off a space and having it totally empty, and then giving it a good deep cleaning and putting back only what belongs there. And I love that idea. If and only if you will actually go through those boxes, because what tends to happen is we shove stuff into boxes, we create a nice space, we shuffle those boxes someplace else and we never get to them. Or we get to them later on and it becomes a much bigger downstream problem. I don't want you 2 years from now to find those boxes, be frustrated with yourself, not know what's in them, and have to spend okay, so here's the thing. When you're putting stuff into boxes, you're touching every single thing and putting it into the box. You're looking at every single thing. You're handling every single thing. If you put it into a box, you're going to have to handle it at least one more time. And nobody likes to go through those boxes. That's not like a fun activity. It's not something that we want to do. So because we don't love doing that, we shove those boxes off to the side. We clutter shuffle them. We put them someplace else in our house. And at some point in the future, you need that someplace else space, right? All of a sudden, you need that someplace else space because you need to have a functional home. We need functional organization. We need a functional home. Homes that function are like the best things ever. They're so easy. We feel so good in them. Functional homes are the best. And when you decide that you're going to store boxes full of random stuff, you're taking away from the function of the space. And you will get to a point where you're like, I want to use that space. Maybe it's the spare bedroom. Maybe it's my couch. Maybe this is only 2 weeks from now, and my couch is covered in boxes with stuff from my kitchen. And I want to use that space. Now I have to rehandle every single thing. I've got to touch every single thing again, go through it again, think about it again, make a decision on it again. I mean, because you think putting it into a box makes it so you don't have to make a decision on it. You're actually making a decision to decide later. Like no matter what, you're making a decision. There's no decision making here, right? You're deciding I'm going to deal with this later, or you're deciding I don't know what to do with this. Force yourself to make the decision the first time. Like you pick up something, where does this go? Do I need to keep this? Is this supporting my life right now? Or am I keeping it just in case? Or am I keeping it because I'm afraid of making the decision to let it go? Am I keeping it because I spent money on it? Even though it's taking my time, my energy right now, I'm holding on to it because I spent money on it. Does that make sense? And the answer may be yes, and the answer may be no. But if you're brutally honest with yourself, you will get to the best answer, not the correct answer, but the best answer for right now. Another way that you could do this, if your countertop is so full of stuff, do one sweep right now. Go through that, just find anything that's garbage, throw it out, take the garbage out, get it out of your house. Next, go through just look at everything. Is there anything that can be very easily donated? Put it into a box, tape up that box, and take it to Goodwill. Get the stuff out of your house. Is there anything that can go into the bathroom? Pick up all that stuff and bring it into the bathroom. You can deal with the bathroom later. Right now, you're focusing on the kitchen. Kind of go through it like that, or do small sections. You could actually measure your countertop. Maybe it's 6 feet long. Can you do 1 foot of countertop space today? 1 foot of countertop space tomorrow. At the end of the week, you'll have gone through the entire counter and only handled things once. But be ruthless with yourself. Be ruthless because you deserve to have a home that functions well. You deserve to have a home that you love. You deserve the time and the space. You do not need to continue to burden yourself with all of the stuff.